me remember to record. Okay. So first of all, for those of you that I've never met, my name is Kendall, and the first thing I'm going to do is, even though some of you have already heard my story, I want to go over it a little bit with those who haven't, just so you kind of understand the reason behind why I do this. So hopefully you can kind of hear my heart on all this stuff. So I'm a mom of 4 kiddos. I homeschool. And I've been doing this. This is my 20th month to do this. And before I started doing this, my cousin had started doing it about a year earlier, and she had told me about it. And I, at the time, thought it was all about weight loss. And as soon, right after she had told me about it, I started having a lot of health issues, and I had a lot of stomach pain. I was in and out of the hospital. I had kidney stones and cysts, a hernia, an intestinal infection, and an inflamed stomach lining. So I had a lot going on. It took us forever to even figure out that those things were going on. I was seeing 6 specialists, 2 of which were GI doctors. I had colonoscopies, upper endoscopies, x-rays, ultrasounds. I mean, anything that you can think of, I had it. And my pain from all this stuff was so crippling that I could barely even walk across my house without being just in agonizing pain. And so at the 11-month point was when they found my 6 kidney stones. And that, in order to find those, I had to lay on a table for an hour for them to take an x-ray every 5 minutes to track, my whole GI tract and, my kidneys and my ovaries and everything. And so they found those, and they put me on medication to flush those and to try to break up the stones. And the side effect of that medication was me losing my nearsighted vision. And it took us about 2 weeks to realize it was the medication causing it. I thought my vision was, just messing up. And so that was really the eye-opener for me, that I wanted something natural, that I no longer wanted to just count on modern medicine. I'm not anti-medicine. I think there's definitely a time and a place for it. But by this point, I had been on about 30 medications, and it did absolutely nothing for me. And it really just made me sicker. And so I stopped everything that they had me on, and I messaged my cousin. And I had seen her, we all share testimonies on Facebook. And because she was consistent with that, I had seen her posting stuff about IBS, which I'd had IBS my whole life. And then just all kinds of stomach stuff. We had no clue what I had. So of course I'm thinking, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, maybe it's a gluten issue, maybe I have celiacs. And so I had seen all this stuff because she was posting about it. And so I finally messaged her, and I told her, I don't care what it costs, just tell me what I need and I'm going to order it. And again, we homeschool, so we were on one income at the time. And so I put it on a credit card because, I'm sorry, if you're desperate, you're going to find a way to get, something that you think will help you. And so I got the products in. I signed up the day before Thanksgiving, but my first day on the products was December 5th of 2013. And the very first day I started noticing, I wasn't in pain. And normally it was 30 minutes in the morning. I'd wake up, I was completely out of pain. And then my pain would start. And, so I'd try to cram in as much activity as I could in that first 30 minutes. And so my first day, I told Donnie, I don't really know. I don't want to say I'm not in pain because I don't want to jinx it, but I think I'm not. And so by day 3 of not being in pain was when I was really convinced. And that's hard. After 11 months of being in pain, it's hard to acknowledge that maybe something actually helped. And so, by that 3rd day I realized, and now it's been 20 months and my pain has not come back. So it was definitely an answered prayer for us in that way. Obviously it's come through financially. My father had lived with us and was contributing financially, and he had gotten set up on a blind date. And, we knew within 2 months he was going to get married. And the point for me where I got so ashamed of myself was where, I realized I was praying for this to not work out with him and this woman, simply because I didn't want to have the stress and anxiety that came along with not being able to pay our bills. And so when I started, feeling that way, I realized, whoa, I need to check myself here, because I'm praying against something that can make him incredibly happy. And so I just had to give that to God and decide, if he provided a woman for you, he's got to provide a way for us. And so, with the business, I didn't go into it looking for a business. I went into it looking for my health stuff. The day after I signed up, I was talking to a friend of mine who knew the health stuff that I had going on. And, I told her, hey, I'm going to try this stuff for my stomach. Apparently it can help with that stuff. And, apparently you're supposed to lose weight with it too. So that'd be cool. And she told me, hold on, where can I get this from you? And so I had to make her wait so I could sign up. And I called Heather and told her, hey, I've got somebody who wants to order. I need to sign up real quick. So I was actually a customer first, and the very next day became an ambassador. And then the day after that was when we were all over at my mom's house for Thanksgiving. It was me and my sisters. And I was telling them, hey, our cousin Heather is she's doing that thing, and I'm going to do it with her because, hopefully it can help with my stomach stuff. And so, that day, just telling them about it, they decided that they wanted to do it too. And so that weekend, by the very first weekend, 4 days into me signing up, I was a silver ambassador. So I got my $100 bonus. I already had one customer, and they all got welcome packs. They got the big welcome packs. And so, I also made $150 off the bonuses on the welcome packs. So in 4 days, I had made $250. And that was really, for somebody we have been on one income for a long time. And when you're on one income that barely covers your bills, and you get to the grocery store and you have to put it on a credit card because you don't have enough money to cover your groceries, $250 is huge. And so that was kind of the eye opener to me for my business. And I messaged called my cousin, and I told her, I see the potential with this a little bit. I'm not going to do parties. I don't want to make my friends feel like they have to host a party for me. I don't have the money to buy inventory, so I can't do that. And I just really don't want my friends to ever feel like a paycheck to me. And so if you tell me that there's something I could do here without that, then I'm all in. And so she talked to me about, how to share it and how she did it, which I'm going to be going into a lot of that tonight. And so the business naturally started for me. I read through the testimonies. I know a lot of sick people, and the more I read, the more I just couldn't help but share it with them, because I knew right off the bat it had helped me. And, the fact that it could help them, I didn't know for sure at the time, but that it could, and that I knew that they could try it without really risking anything, since we have our money back guarantee. I was totally comfortable telling them about it. Like, hey, I don't know if this is going to help, but it could. So it's at least worth trying. There's a lot of people it has helped with. So that's kind of how I got started on all this, and why I got invested in the business so quickly. And I do have notes I'm going to be looking at just so I don't forget to cover anything. So I'm trying to think of how I want to go into this next part. So I decided to do this training call. I've been putting this off for a while. I hate speaking in front of people. So if I kind of flop and fumble, y'all have to give me some grace. This is really pushing me outside of my comfort zone. But I know a lot of people on my team, including myself, I am as well, we're stuck. A lot of us are stuck. And you could have a lot of fence sitters, people who've expressed interest, but they haven't really decided to do it yet. You could have a lot of potentials that you have no clue how to reach out to. Or you could be somebody, you could be brand new in the business and just have no clue how to get started on this. And so I finally decided I need to do this no matter what, even if I'm a little awkward and uncomfortable. So hopefully you guys get stuff from this. I've really spent this last month just listening to, really the last 2 weeks, I've probably listened to 50 or 60 hours worth of training videos from, the diamonds, or, really just any jewel, emerald and above. And I've really just been trying to see how they did it, like what they did, and why what we are doing is different. Why isn't this happening for us? We all have the same products, we have the same opportunity, and, the same ability to share this. We just need to know how to do it. So the first thing that I really want to stress is don't compare yourself to anyone else. That is the most important thing with this. We're all going to grow at different speeds. And we hear this a lot, if you compare yourself to somebody else, you're going to steal the joy from what you are doing and where you are at. Listening to all these training calls from people, I have realized that the vast majority, I don't know how many diamonds we have, maybe 70, 60, 70, I don't know exactly. The vast majority of them took years to get where they are at. Years, okay? On average, this business, it's 4 to 5 years to build your business to the point where you now are set, where you have a good, solid working team under you. But unfortunately, with this company, the most popular people that we hear from all the time are those who did this in 10 months or 12 months. And they're popular for that reason, yet that's now the standard that we hold ourselves to. And that's unfair. We should not do that to ourselves, because then you are going to get discouraged and unmotivated so much faster than you should. And it causes you to give up on something that should not have happened that fast. You know, there are some people, and I feel like it's just luck. I mean, not just luck. Okay, they work their booties off, I know. But we're not lacking something in ourselves just because we can't do the same thing that they do. Okay, it's not like we need to feel like, well, we just don't have their personality, or we're not doing everything the right way, or we must have something wrong. You can't feel that way about yourself. We are each different, and we have different friendships because of that, and different friends who are in different places of their lives. You know, I think about myself, and if I had originally listened to my cousin when she first told me about this, there are people in my life because of Plexus that would not be in my life now if I had started then. You know, I have a certain friend who joined just because of health stuff that her husband was having, and she started getting a team. And since then, hold on, I think some people might not be muted. Mute all. You know, and since then she has stopped working the business, but her teammates are still under me. And these are people that I count some of my dearest friends, and they would not be on my team if I had started 11 months ago, because 11 months before my friend who originally joined, her husband didn't have the health issues. So, you know, really just wherever you're at in this, don't get discouraged, and just force yourself to keep going, and stop looking to the sidelines of what everybody else is doing, and just put your blinders on and focus on what you're doing, and make sure you're getting, you know, your stuff done in order to continue to grow your team. So when I started all this, my cousin was already an Emerald, and she had a really big team. And, you know, I was the newbie coming in. And when I joined, it was, I mean, like I said, it was the day before Thanksgiving. So this is the time leading into New Year's resolutions. And that's really the biggest time with this company as far as action. And I got really lucky, because when I joined, Plexus had a sale going on, and then I also added a sale on top of that. So I ended up signing 22 ambassadors in my first month. Okay. Now this really, you know, it sounds cool and it sounds awesome, but I signed people that, not people who were wanting to work the business. I signed people who were signing for the discount, which isn't bad, but I didn't have, you know, these working people right off the bat. And I also now had this big team of people, and I had absolutely no idea what to do with them. And from Heather's perspective, I was somebody who was just rocking it. You know, I had 22 people, you know, every day she was getting multiple emails from the people I was adding. And so she didn't feel the need to reach out to me to train me, and I didn't know to reach out to her. And so I feel like when I got started with this, there was maybe some duplication stuff that kind of got left out that I didn't learn. And so, and we all know duplication is a big part of this business. What we do and the way that we interact with people on our team is what's going to get duplicated down to our team. Okay. Sorry, let me make sure that everybody is muted. All these new people, every time somebody joins, it makes me remute. So there's stuff I feel like maybe, I mean, I know I've done stuff wrong just from the get-go, and stuff I'm even now learning 20 months in. Wow, I really should have done this from the beginning and not that. But that's, you know, that's the learning process. We all learn through this. So that's totally fine. We learn from our mistakes. We're growing constantly with this. But that stuff I want to start going over. It's the stuff that I have learned since then that I felt like I wish I had duplicated that in the beginning. And I hope that you guys start doing it, because if you start doing it now, then that's what you're going to be duplicating down to your team. Okay. So first, there are a bunch of newbies on here. So I want to go over some basic stuff. And then I'm going to go into more of, you know, the meat for those who have been doing this for a while. So for everybody, this isn't just newbies, but for everybody, really think about why you're doing this. In the beginning for me, it was for my health. I mean, obviously I had a lot of health stuff going on, so it was for that. But then it quickly, when my business was growing, switched to, oh, wow, I can actually make money with this. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years and never had an income unless I was doing an at-home daycare, which I did an at-home daycare for 9 of those years. And, it's one of those things where it was just shocking to me that there was actually something I could do from home, and it was actually working. That was the other thing. I did not expect to all of a sudden, because I got sick, now have this financial blessing. And so I think for me, that was kind of my point when things really slowed down, actually, when my why changed to a financial thing. And I was just talking to Rena about this. I have been so frustrated lately, like I know a lot of you are, at being stuck where I'm at. And I'm sorry, I'm a Ruby. So I know if you're going to be stuck, it's awesome to be stuck at a Ruby. I was stuck at Senior Gold for a year. Like, it's not like those are bad ranks, but no matter where you are, if you're stuck, you're frustrated. And I really had to start thinking about, what's going on? What am I doing? What's my motivation behind this? And when I realized my motivation was financial, and it was no longer my health, because my health was great now. And it was more financial inside of me than it was helping my friends. And that was not the way it should have been. And when I realized that, I kind of had to, I guess, slap myself in the face and, have a reality check of, if I'm doing this for selfish reasons, which are financial, which I'm sorry, we all struggle with finances. So it's not selfish to need the finances. Okay. We needed it. My dad was moving out. We were going to lose our house in 2 months if I didn't have income. And so it's not selfish, but if my main reason was that, then it makes total sense to me why everything slowed down and why I wasn't learning how to lead. Because I was so concentrated on what's my bottom line, do I have a new ambassador email? Because that'd be great. And so these last couple months, and really this last month, big time, I haven't had to start realizing, this opportunity, it's been a gift. It's been a gift to me. It answered my prayer for my health and my health struggle. It answered our prayer financially. But then I have an identity outside of mom. I've been mom for 10 years. And now I have the opportunity to actually make a huge change in my friends' lives. And I have got so many friends who are doing this who had a huge change in their health. And I realized my why, that's what it needs to be. I have a calling to help people, and I don't want my friends to feel like a paycheck. And whether I realized it or not, thinking of my friends as a financial opportunity, then it's going to come across that way. Even if I'm trying to be super sweet and make them feel like it's not, it's going to come across that way if that's your main motivation. And so my why has really changed to, I want to help educate my friends on their health. And if they're struggling with something, I want them to understand why that's going on in their body and how they can, help that without having to just pop all those pills like I was given. So, if you're new, especially, figure out your why, or if you've been doing this for a while, make sure you really know what your why is and make sure it's the right kind of one to help, the long-term motivation, and make sure you're doing this for the right reasons. Once you figure that out, you'll then be able to determine how much time that you have to invest in this based on what it is you're doing this for. Okay. So, if it is a financial thing, which it's always going to be part of it, write down what it is that you need out of this. If it's $200 a month, or, if you just need to cover the cost of your products, that's great. If you need $500, so you can pay your electric bill and a car payment, that's great. If you need like $1,000 or more, we got some work to do. So determine how much time you have to invest in this. So if you want a couple $100s just to offset your cost, then you're not going to need to spend as much time as somebody who wants $1,000 or more with this. And that's going to change. Your financial goals are going to change. And I should have brought water. So some people, oh, sorry. So I know a lot of you in here, you do want to replace your jobs with this. And that was a big one for us. My husband was with his job for a decade, and I've got a girl on here whose husband also works for the same company. And it was something where, he had hip surgery. And so he got to a point where he had to take a break from it. But being in that field, it was so stressful for him that he needed to get out, but he couldn't because our health insurance was tied into that. Our 401k was tied into that, and I had no income. So we didn't have any way of having a break in income while he looked for a job. So this has been something that has opened that up, to where he was able to switch jobs and get into a different field that he now, has more satisfaction with. But if you want full-time pay, then you're going to need to spend time on this. And I don't mean, we think full-time job, I don't mean 40 hours a week. My goodness, we cannot dedicate 40 hours a week to this. But having dedicated time every single day to work this is going to be super important. And hold on, I do have a drink on the floor. I need a sip so that I don't cough the whole time. Okay. So, the phrase that I heard from the beginning with this that's really stuck with me is, you can work it part-time, but you cannot work it sometimes. You can work this 5 hours a week. You can work this 4 hours a week, but you need to break that down into everyday activity. If you have 10 minutes a day and that's all you have to work this, spend 10 minutes 100% invested in this and what you are doing. If you take a day or two off, then you're going to lose your momentum and you're going to lose your focus. And that's been the biggest struggle for me is all this stuff will happen and life will get in the way. And because I didn't have like my set time every day that I was going to do this, I would spend 2 days off. And guess what? At the end of those 2 days, I would dread getting on my computer and going through my checklist of stuff I needed to do. But if I was working every single day on this, I didn't have that issue. I was excited and, who's messaged me and who can I message and how can I share this and what fun post can I do? So make sure that you know what time you have and make sure to dedicate that time every single day. I know a lot of you have full-time jobs and you have crazy schedules, but you have to decide where you're going to fit this in and you have to make sure that you're going to do it. Okay. Sorry, I need one more drink. I'm hoping I'm not going to hack through this whole call. Okay. So, I know I'm home. So I know a lot of you know that I stay home. And while that does make it easier to fit this into my day-to-day, we homeschool. And so starting next week when school starts back up from 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, I can't get on my computer. I can't get on my phone because the second I get distracted, my kids are gone and it's an hour before I get them back. I teach at my co-op. I volunteer at my church. I have groceries and laundry and household. I have crazy stuff too, but you can still fit this in. If this is a huge, if this is a goal that you have in your life, you can fit this in. So just make sure you prioritize that and believe you can do it. I feel like a lot of people, they doubt themselves and they're like, well, I'm not outgoing, or I don't know how to talk to people, or I'm not smart enough to understand the products, or whatever it is. You need to have belief in yourself. You really do. Because if you don't have that, you are going to struggle so much more. You have to have belief. We all have the same opportunity, the same products. We all have friends, we all have people we can reach out to with this. And if that's something you struggle with, reach out to your upline, let them know that they can help encourage you in that. And really have belief in our products. You have to believe that lives are being changed by our products. You have to get passionate about it. People are watching you. And a great way to do that is to go to the testimony pages and spend time. When I signed up, I spent 4 hours. The first thing I did was 4 hours reading through the testimonies because it opened my eyes. I had no clue everything that these products can do. And so that really helped me to be able to focus on the products. And, it helped me think of people who really needed this instead of, trying to just I don't know really what to say to them because I don't know who it can help. And so if you do that, you're going to find your belief in the products. And a big thing is don't puke Plexus on people. And we're so tempted to do that in the beginning and when you've been in it for a while. Because if you get excited and passionate about something, you just want to talk about it constantly. And you want to listen more than you puke on them. That's a horrible way to put it, but that's the truth. So I'll go more into that in a minute. But, a big thing to understand about this business is this is relationship marketing. You have to build relationships with people for them to listen to you. Okay. And this is something I've been really, really working on, especially when I had to switch my mentality of financial to helping my friends, is I am trying really hard to be intentional about reconnecting with people. So this is going to be harder for some than it is for others. So I'm trying really hard to text or message or call my friends, and not even bring up Plexus at all. You want to rekindle relationships that you had. Like if I have an old friend on Facebook or, from high school on Facebook, I've actually been doing this a lot this week. I messaged one of them and I said, hey, I just want to let you know you have the most adorable baby ever, congratulations. Or I don't know, something like that. So I did this to 3 different girls, and they do have stinking cute babies, so it wasn't awkward. And, they're all like, oh, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. And, so then I try to message something back. And one of them actually in the course of this conversation even said, hey, so how's Plexus going? And she brought it up. I didn't even have to bring it up. And that was through me just reconnect. And I haven't talked to this girl in a year and a half, 2 years. Probably longer than that. But just trying to reconnect and them to feel like any message they get from you is not going to be about Plexus. Okay. So, another example is, you can message them and say, hey, I can't believe it's been so long. How's life been for you? What are you doing now? Where do you live now? And then, after a few messages of that, I'll try to get their phone number and see if I can get them on the phone. If they're local, I'm going to try and see, hey, do you want to go get coffee, catch up on life? Because guess what? You talk to them about them, and eventually they're going to ask you about you, and Plexus can come up. And if you're talking to them about real life, which you should be, you want to reconnect with these people. And trust me, I've been reconnected with people that I wish I had never stopped communicating with, and relationships have been rekindled that I'm so thankful for. But if you do this, then they're not going to feel like they're just a paycheck to you by the time you get to Plexus. So, so lists are so important. I cannot stress this enough. And I have people that I have talked to about lists probably 10 times. And then when I check in with them, they're like, oh, it's, I haven't done it yet. You have to do this. Okay. If you are new and you're reading through these testimony pages, write down the name of every person that you think of while you're doing this. If you're not new and you send a friend request to a new person that, that you have multiple friends in common with, write that person's name down on your list. So they have the Franks list that you can use, and it's friends. You want to write down the names of your friends, relatives that you have, acquaintances, neighbors, kid connections, and spousal connections, okay? Because what this does is it gives you a starting point. So say you do have 5 minutes to sit down on your computer and, to reach out to a couple new potentials. You already have your list there, so you don't have to scroll through your friends list. Oh, who have I not talked to? Scroll through your messages to, make sure you haven't talked to them yet. This way you've already got it. So I actually did this right before this call. I spent 5 minutes and I had people on my list, and I just, messaged them, hey, have you ever thought about this? Things are going well with you. I don't remember exactly what I said. This is totally not coming out the way I sent it. But, it was very no pressure. I've just been thinking of you, and I don't know why you keep coming up. I have no clue if you're even struggling with something, but, I'm really trying to help my friends with this. Please don't feel like I'm just messaging you to sell to you. I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're a paycheck to me. But, on the off chance you are struggling with something and want a natural health option, I'd love to talk to you about this. Or maybe, somebody, a mom or a friend, just let me know. I hope you're doing well. Your kids look awesome. I watch them grow up on Facebook and they're so adorable. I also try to add in non-Plexus stuff, but having your list helps you already have that starting point of who you want to talk to. So, so that leads into sharing, especially for you newbies. Do not wait till you have a testimony, your own testimony, before you share. Okay. So for me, when I started with this, my initial reaction was, when I thought about the business, was, well, maybe I shouldn't post testimonies on Facebook or share about this, because although my pain was better, I still, I guess, had it in my brain that you have to lose weight to have a testimony, even though we are not a weight loss company. I want to say that now. And so that's what was in my brain. And so I thought, I have to wait till I have that to share with people. And that is so wrong. So the more I read those testimonies and realized I don't have a thyroid issue, I will never have a thyroid issue. So does that mean my friends who have hypothyroidism, do I not talk to them? Like, do I just never tell them about this because my testimony will never have anything to do with that? No. Okay. We have sick friends. We have a 60-day money back guarantee for a reason. If they don't like it, they get their money back. Okay. And that way you feel confident talking to your friend about this and the potential that it could help them, without them being scared to talk to their friend about it, thinking that, well, if it doesn't work, they might waste their money, and they won't. Okay. So feel confident to talk to them. this could give them their life back. And Plexus is growing like crazy. If you don't talk to them, someone else is going to talk to them. Okay. So seize the day, call your friend, really reach out to people and be bold with it, because, and you don't even, again, don't do it from a sales way, do it from a sharing with them because you care about them way. Because that will help you have the courage to do it, knowing this could really help them. This could make a huge change for them. So, if someone is asking what you've experienced or how it worked, for you, and you're brand new at this, tell them, I've only been on it for about 2 weeks, but, so far, I haven't really lost weight yet, which, totally expected, but I'm feeling amazing. And I have a lot of friends who are doing this, and, they really like it as well. So if you're struggling with, fill in the blank, whatever the issue is that they have, I have a lot of people say that they've seen it improved a lot after starting this. So, you just think about it, give it a shot, because what's the worst case? You don't like it and you get all your money back. And so, you don't have to be this instant expert. And if you become an instant expert right off the bat, that's kind of a turnoff, because they know you just started this and all of a sudden you sound like you know everything. Be vulnerable. Vulnerability speaks a lot to people. So don't be nervous of not having the answers. If they have a question that you don't know how to answer, tell them, I haven't learned that yet, but I know who to ask to find that out. So I'll send you an email tonight. And message your upline. There's Google. We can find the answers to these things. So don't let that scare you either. So the best way to share is on Facebook, as far as reaching the biggest market the fastest, but be very intentional about how you are doing it. Okay. So we have to share, not sell. So when I was talking to Heather, she told me this: every post that you do is a chance to turn them on to what you're doing or to turn them off of what you are doing. Every single post. Okay. You can lose somebody in a matter of seconds if you post an advertisement, because now you're selling to them. I recommend posting twice a day, but only if you are also doing personal posts. If you are somebody that hardly ever gets on Facebook and now you're posting Plexus twice a day and nothing else, your feed is going to fill up with Plexus, and that's a turnoff for people. Okay. So you have to have balance. You have to, be connecting with people personally, interact with your friends more on Facebook, like their posts, like their pictures, comment on their pictures. There's a Facebook algorithm that the more you like their stuff, the more they'll show up in your feed, and the more they like your stuff, the more you will show up in their feed. So make sure you're interacting so that Facebook puts your Plexus post in front of them. But so if you are posting personally, then I would recommend one Plexus post in the morning and one at night, and fill in those gaps with, pictures of your kids, or of, you're sitting in traffic, take a picture, and whatever you're thinking about, like, be creative, share Pinterest stuff. Just fill up your feed with 80% personal to 20% Plexus. So you want to be active on there. Now, we talked about the way that you're posting matters. So Lori Harrison did a great talk on ads versus posts, okay? And so the example she gave was the X Factor. And so this is a post I would do about the X Factor. This is an example of ad versus sharing and telling a story. Obviously, you're not going to have my same story, but you'll get the gist of it. So if you're posting about X Factor, you could post, we got awesome graphics that list the ingredients, and you could be like, we have aloe vera, and here's the health benefits of aloe vera and New Zealand blackcurrant and all this, and this, and you post all that with a graphic. Guess what? You just sold to your friends, and they just saw your advertisement. And what do? We're the DVR Society. We go past the advertisements, and they're not even going to read it. Okay. So this is how I would share about the X Factor. I would do a post. We took Donnie in last year, or 2 years ago now, and he had his blood work done. And when he had his blood work done, they found out that he was so vitamin D deficient that he would not even be able to go in the sun, or he would get cancer. So we were freaking out. They put him on 10,000 IUs of vitamin D. And we went and got his blood work done again. It had barely moved. And so when we started with this company, we decided to put him on the X Factor vitamin. And I was really, really hesitant, because it only has 500 IUs of vitamin D, and 500 and 10,000 is a huge difference. And so we put him on it, and we waited about 6 months, and we got his blood work done again, and it was perfect. Do you know why? Because we have aloe vera in our X Factor, and aloe vera makes nutrients more bioavailable in your body to where you can absorb up to 300% more of it. And if it did this for his vitamin D, can you imagine what all these other nutrients did for him? So that I would tell a story, and I actually just did this post the other day. So you can go actually look at it on my wall. But that right there is a story. That's not me doing an advertisement talking about X Factor. This is me telling it, or I did another post the other day and I took a picture of myself where you could see my eyelashes, because I noticed the other morning my short, stubby eyelashes are now long. And I had never had that. And so I did a post about how, I'm so jealous of my mean old sister who has had these beautiful long eyelashes her entire life. And I've been the short, stubby blonde eyelashes. And thanks to the X Factor, I finally have awesome eyelashes. And I'm so thankful. And you know why? Because the aloe is super great for your hair and your nails. So that was me sharing a story about the X Factor. So pay attention to all non-weight loss side effects, all of them. If you have a great night's sleep, you now have a story to tell. If you go to the grocery store and you resist buying the bag of cookies there that you would normally buy, you have a story to tell. If you just cleaned your whole house when normally you'd need like 4 cups of coffee to do that, you have a story to tell. So just make sure that you're paying attention, because, and write down stuff so you can share it later, or so you can remember, if you're 6 months in and you're like, oh, maybe they're not working, and you have a journal of what it's done for you, that helps to remind you. So it continues your belief in these products. When you're sharing testimonies, focus on health, not weight loss. I cannot stress this enough. Okay. If you are just posting weight loss after weight loss testimonies, then people are going to think we're just like Advocare and Herbalife and all these other companies where, it's great to lose weight and all, but you stop their products and you put weight back on because they put the Band-Aids on the issues. We are about health. We get down to the root issue of what's going on, and people need to know that, and it is our job to educate them. So if I'm going to share a post that has to do with weight loss, which a lot of them do. They have those before and afters. I make sure it also has health stuff in it. So I cannot stress that enough. You want people to understand that their goal with these products is not their outward appearance. It's their inward health. And so, we have to teach them that. And every little thing that we do is going to color the way that they think about this. So another big thing is, no matter what, do not post your website on Facebook. I know some people will post it, first of all, on in their actual post, and that we're not even allowed to do that. Others I see share it in their comments. Don't do this. The second you post your website, you could have told the greatest story, and you post your website, and now it's turned it into an ad again. So do not post your website. I actually don't like people going to my website unless I have first been able to talk to them, because guess what what our website talks about? It just talks about weight loss. And I want the chance to educate them on our products before they get to my website. So, if they're going to order, they're going to have to go through us anyway. So there's no point giving it to them there or waiting until we talk to them about it. So don't post your website, please. Sorry, I lost where I went. Okay. And again, really just focus on not being a salesman on Facebook. People need to know that you're sharing because you care about them, and not that you're posting just because you want your next sale. And here's a big one that I've seen a lot of people do lately. If you see another person post something, please do not hit the share button. Okay. If you hit the share button on Facebook, first of all, if they have their privacy settings turned on, then now nobody is seeing your post. If you hit that share button, then only people that are mutual friends between the two of you are seeing that post, okay? And if they have their post set to public, which I have all of mine set to public, but the downside of you just clicking the share button on mine is you now have my name going out to all of them as the Plexus person. And you're now giving me the brand recognition of the Plexus lady. So if you want to share something, which things I post, things we all post, they're open for everybody to use. But you want to save the picture and upload it to your computer or save it on your phone. And you want to copy and paste the text into your own personal wall and make it look like your own post, okay? That way people also know if you're just sharing, again, it starts to look like ads. So make sure you're doing that. If you're on your phone, the app, that'll let you save the photos, but you have to actually go into your internet browser on your phone. And, say somebody does a post with a picture, click on the picture, and it'll open up that post into a separate link, and then you're able to highlight the text so that you can do that from your phone. I know a lot of us didn't know how to do that for a while, and a sweet friend of mine educated me. So, and So this is something new for all you people who have been working this for a while, and what I want all you newbies to hear. And this is something I have started doing the last 2 weeks that has been so successful. Okay. If somebody contacts you about Plexus, do not just send them information. Every person I now, I quickly kind of, what is it? If they say, well, what is this stuff? I'll be like, it's a little pink drink. You mix it up in water, you drink it. It helps with this, this, and this. But, really, it'd actually be a lot easier for me to explain it over the phone. Can I call you tomorrow? Get them on the phone, guys. I know a lot of you newbies, you might not feel confident in this. And again, it goes back to you don't have to be the expert. Share your excitement. Get them on the phone. Hey, what are you dealing with? Let me know what you're struggling with so I can hopefully help you with product recommendation. And they'll tell you, if you have no clue what it is that they're dealing with and want to recommend to them, tell them, I've been doing this for a couple weeks. I haven't really looked into that one much. I love what it's doing for me. And I know I've seen a lot of testimonies of what it's done, for that. And so is there any way I can send you some testimonies on that so you can see? And I'll ask my friend who does this, what it is that really helps with people with that. And so you don't have to know everything. You really don't. And you're going to stress yourself out like crazy, and you are never going to share if you feel like you have to know all the answers before you share. Okay. So, but stop. We've got to get off of Facebook Messenger. And that's the biggest thing that I feel like I duplicated down wrong, because it was duplicated to me. That when people reach out, you have to have the right words and the right message to send to them. And that is simply not the truth. We have got to foster relationships. And, all of like 10, 15 years ago, we didn't even have the option to Facebook Messenger or to text. We had to call people. And I'm telling you, it has helped so, so much. I've had just today, I got 2 brand new customers, and it's because I got them on the phone. And something that would take me normally a week to have a conversation of back and forth messages took me 5 minutes on the phone to explain to them. So if you don't feel confident on the phone, get on the phone. I don't know the answer to that, but I have a friend who does. Can I call her in real quick and I can ask her that? Call me, call your upline, text us. Hey, I'm about to call a friend, but I might need to call you in, make sure we're available. We're here as a tool for you guys to use. So, don't let your fear prevent you from doing that. Okay. So let's get on the phone, because you're going to have a lot more success. One-on-one is way more important than just trying to message people, because you also lose that connection of you actually caring about them. Okay. And I was talking to Heather, which those of you don't know, Heather is my cousin, our diamond upline. And she was talking about the 2 diamonds, it's a husband and wife, the Abbotts. And she said the 2 of them said that they never, ever would message back information about Plexus. They said every single person that they added to their team, they would either get on the phone with, or they actually met face to face and went to coffee or dinner if they were local. So, it's a husband and wife. They're both diamonds because of that, because they knew the importance of getting one-on-one time with people instead of just the disconnect of this texting and computer society that we're in. If you have someone who won't get on the phone, and messaging is your only option, then we need to be specific about how we do it. Okay. So this is another new thing for all you people who've done this for a while. And this is something from Celeste Gwynn that she does, which for those of you who don't know Celeste, she is our first double diamond. She's incredibly successful with this company. So you should take her word for gold. So every follow-up that she has with somebody, she sends them new information. Okay. So if somebody messaged you about Plexus, you ask if you can get them on the phone. They're like, oh, I can't really do that. Just send me info on here or something like that. Or say you ask them, hey, can I call you tomorrow? And they don't even respond back. I had one girl do that to me, and I messaged her. I was like, hey, I know life's crazy. I know we haven't had a chance to get on the phone, but I'll just shoot you some info real quick and let me know if you have any questions. So that's how I kind of got past the awkwardness of her not messaging me back. And so first, send them some information. If you don't know what to send them, contact your upline. Okay. And then, the next follow-up, so that's your first follow-up. The second follow-up, if you haven't heard back and nothing has happened, send them a diamond documentary or a testimony that makes them think, makes you think of them. Like, hey, I just saw this and it made me think of you. I thought you might be interested, and send that to them. The third follow-up, if you still haven't heard from them, send them something about the products. Like, hey, we have an awesome multivitamin that you might like. It's the X Factor, and send them info on it. The fourth follow-up, in case I forgot to tell you before, I wanted to make sure that we have a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you can try everything for 2 full months, and if you don't love it, you can get a refund on every last drop. the fifth one, like Celeste Gwynn said, her favorite one is, hey, I'm just checking back in with you. You haven't slammed the door in my face yet, so I think you might be interested in these products. So it's the follow-up is so important. It is rare for somebody to decide to do this on the very first time that you talk with them. And again, this is why it's so important to have a list of people. I have an entire journal dedicated to my potentials who have not done this yet. And I have every single name written down of every person that I have talked to. Okay. And, so it's the statistics for sales are 80% of people do not sign up until, or order whatever from you until the 5th to 12th time of you following up and reaching out to them. And I mean, I'm 20 months in and I still have people who are just now joining my team, and they've been watching me for how long? And I've reached out to them a gazillion times. But because I've been consistent, they're like, okay, I'm ready to do this now, or I have the money, or I have a health issue now, or whatever it is. And another thing that I thought was interesting is that 48% of salespeople don't follow up. And that's where it comes from, is the follow-up. So please be in the 52%. So use the system, that I mentioned above for, sending new information every follow-up. Don't just message them and say, hey, I just want to see if you got my message, let me know if you have any questions, or I want to see what you thought about it. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's not send that anymore. Okay. And I'm preaching to the choir here. I did that a lot. So if you do this for them and say they do decide to join or order or whatever, you're going to duplicate this to them. So remember everything we do. And if it's not comfortable for you to call people, well, then you have no hope for duplicating that to your downline, because we need people to get on the phone and have that relationship. Okay. And the longer that you do this, the more people that you're going to reach out to. So that's why writing down that list is super important, because otherwise people start falling through the cracks. Okay. Now, customers, this is another new thing that I'm doing. Following up with existing customers that you have, get them on the phone. It's the same thing. Call them. I spent just, a couple hours on Sunday afternoon going down my customers list, and I called each and every one of them. This could be somebody I haven't talked to on the phone for 10 years, and we did our whole sign-up process via message, and they've been my customer for months. I called them. And it wasn't awkward. I just, we have their phone numbers in the back office, and I called them and I said, hey, I was about to send you a message to check in on you, and I decided I just want to call you because I just want to know what's going on with you, regardless of Plexus. Like, how are you? We haven't talked in forever. Like, tell me about life. And so it wasn't like you are calling them out of the blue, but it's not awkward. Let them know I was going to message you, but man, I figured it'd be so much better to call you. I want to actually talk to you. And guess what? They are now like, woohoo, she's not just using me for my money. Okay. Another benefit of this was doing that. There were a couple of them that were having issues. Either they were forgetting to take their products, or forgetting their water, or they're like, oh, I don't know. I've had like a headache for a little while. I don't know what I think. So both of them, I was able to get back on track. One of them, we got her setting alarms in her phone to remember her Slim in the morning. I helped her download a water tracking app to get her water in. The other one, we got to have another conversation about detox and reminding her. And she's like, oh yeah, I forgot you sent me that. So both of them, I got back on track, and now they're happy again. Okay. So set aside time to call your customers, because and you also have a better chance if they're happy. If you call them, they're like, oh, I'm loving this. There's your opportunity to talk about the business. Well, if you're loving it, I get it cheaper. I'm an ambassador and I get a lot cheaper. And I know you probably at least have people asking you about, why you're feeling better, or, I bet you know somebody who's sick. Like, if you're tired of paying for it since you love it and you're probably going to want to keep taking it, I can help you so where you don't have to pay for it anymore. So that if you're on the phone with them, it's a lot easier to bring it up in a natural, non-awkward way. So get them on the phone. Once someone becomes your customer, this is another thing that I've been doing that's been working really well. In order to keep them motivated, is continue to send them testimonies or videos that make you think of what it is that that they're struggling with, okay? Because this will continue to encourage them. So if you have somebody that started this because of their thyroid issues, or because of their asthma, or they have eczema, maybe like once every 3 or 4 weeks, it doesn't have to be all the time, but every 3 or 4 weeks, find a testimony about it and send it to them. Like, hey, I know you're already taking this, but I just wanted for you to have a little bit of encouragement. So this made me think of you and I wanted to send it to you. And that way, say they are, getting frustrated before they give it time to actually work, they now have this extra little boost where they're like, oh yeah, okay, this probably will work for me. I need to stick it out. So that's a great way just to keep them motivated. Okay. Another thing, so I was talking to Heather and I was like, okay, what can I do to help my team start growing their teams? Like I need some tips of stuff that's worked for others. And so her example was her friend, Nikki Hinkle, who she and her husband both just hit diamond, 2 months ago, I think 3 months ago. It was right before convention. They hit diamond in the same month. And Nikki joined after Heather, obviously, because she's on her team. And Nikki was stuck forever. Her team was not growing. Nothing was happening. And she was trying to figure out what to do to change that up. And she said the biggest thing that she really started emphasizing to her team is don't be scared to sign up wholesale customers, okay? So this is kind of one of those topics that people are like, I don't know, because I'd rather make more money off of them if they were my customer, if they never worked the business. But there are so many people in this business that signed up for the discount, okay? And now they're working the business and they're super successful. Like pretty much any jewel you can talk to say they signed up just for the discount, not to work the business. And the reason that I've even struggled with this myself where I'm like, no, I don't want to sign up anybody unless I know right off the bat they want to work the business, okay? If you can get somebody before they even order deciding to at least be a wholesale customer, and I do want to preface this with this only applies to somebody who is going to order at least the triplex, or say they're on the Slim Accelerator and one other product. If they're, like the Slim Accelerator, it's less than $100. So if this person is not going to order at least $100 worth of product every month, and by $100, I mean PV, okay? So I know the Slim Accelerator for a customer is like $99. So I guess, an ambassador, it's $89. So if they're just getting that, don't even talk about the ambassador route other than like, hey, if you know some people, it'd be great to share it with them and you can cover your costs. Bring it up that way. But if there's somebody who's agreed to order the triplex, then they're a great person to mention, hey, you should really think about being a wholesale customer because then you're going to get it a lot cheaper every time. I mean, they save $15 every month, so it more than pays for that $35 sign-up fee. And the reason is it is a lot easier to convince somebody to think about the wholesale route in the beginning than if they're your customer, okay? So if somebody is already your customer, and you're trying to talk to them about the business, they're happy to just stay where they're at for the most part. But if somebody signs up just for the discount and say they don't even work it for 3 months, if they're loving it, it's easier for them to start sharing it, plant little seeds in their ear. Like, how are you feeling? Have you had anybody ask you about it? Have conversation, find out about their family, through asking questions, you can find out like if their mom or their sister struggles with something. And it's a lot easier then to like, hey, well, if you told her about it and she wanted to try this, you'd make this much money if she ordered it to help cover the cost. And they're like, oh, okay. And guess what? They're already set up as ambassadors. They already have a website. So it's so much easier to get them to open their mouth to tell somebody than it would be if they were a customer and they'd have to go through the whole sign-up process. Like it's more work for them that way. So we've got to stop being scared of wholesale customers. And Heather said when Nikki started doing this, these wholesale customers, as long as you're doing it the right way and engaging via phone and helping them through troubleshooting and getting excited about it for them, encouraging them to share when you talk to them, they started growing her team like crazy because they loved the products, because they have their ambassadors engaging with them and making sure they're doing things right and getting their water and encouraging them, if you're doing this anyway, maybe you should focus on making better health choices, as far as food goes, and use this as the tool. If it's suppressing your sugar cravings, well, don't eat that sugar out of habit. Getting on the phone, that comes across a lot better. So that's the big thing. Don't be scared to sign up wholesale customers. And I'm going to have to work on myself on this as well. But then another thing Heather told me is somebody can be your customer, but if you don't lock them down now as your ambassador, then they can end up going to anyone else. Okay. You can switch ambassadors if you're a customer, but you cannot switch ambassadors if you're on somebody's team. So you really want to try to lock them down now, because if they love it and they're going to share, you would rather them be on your team than someone else's. For customers that have fallen off, okay? So this is for those of you who have a lot of people who are no longer taking this and they were your customer. I really encourage you to reach out to them, Okay. Now you'll know who to reach out to. If you have somebody that's just like incredibly mean and they scare you, you probably shouldn't reach out to them. I don't. I have a couple I have not reached out to yet. But I did today reach out to a bunch of people who have gone inactive. And I'm going to read you the message that I sent to them so that you know. I said, hey, whoever it is, fill in their name. I'm reaching out to a couple people that have tried Plexus to see if maybe you want to give it another shot. I've had a few people come back and we tweaked a few things and they had much better success. Please just think about it because it's done so much for me and I really want it to do that for you. I'm also offering 10% off for anybody that comes back and orders the triplex because that's really the combo that addresses issues at the root and helps to bring the best overall health change. I'm thinking of you and I really hope that you and your family are doing well. So I sent this out today to probably, 8 or 10 customers. I now have 4 that are probably going to reorder. Okay. And it was through just sending this, one of which she's like, yeah, I had extra probio and I saw you posting about it the other day. So I started taking it again and I'm about out of it. So I was actually thinking of messaging you, but, so what is it that the BioCleanse does? And what is it that accelerator? And then another girl, she's like, yeah, I've thought about it. I just didn't know. And, send me more info on it. And I think I probably will restart it because I'm doing better now about not, partying as much. Like I had one girl, she's partying too much. I had one girl that her diet was horrible, but now she feels like she's ready to actually use these as a tool. So situations in your life change. So reach out to, those past customers are a potentials list as well. And I feel like most of us just cross them off and think, oh, they're done. If you reach out to them and they say no, keep them on your list for the next 6 months. And you can reach out to them again. Okay. Another thing about sharing is think about sharing outside of Facebook. Most of us think Facebook is the only way you can do this. And I have had some people who I approach about the business and they're like, oh, I'm not on Facebook. I can't do that. Actually, they can. Okay. And the training's on Facebook. So it's a little bit harder. You would have to email them, training information you want them to have, or if there's a training call. And I encourage them, if you have a new team member sign who is on Facebook, please connect them with me so I can get them on the training pages. But again, if you go over the Franks list with them, they have friends still, they have relatives, they have acquaintances, neighbors, kid connections, and spousal connections. They still know people. They'll have to verbally do it, which is what we want them to do anyway. We don't want them just messaging people. And you might have to email them testimonies to get it, but it's still worth talking to them. Okay. And also you meet new people in your life every day who maybe you're not Facebook friends with. And so you need to be prepared to reach out to them. So today, for example, I have a friend who is a nurse and she's not on Facebook. And I know that she wants to quit her job by next year. And so what I did is I first scheduled a play date with her. And then after we got it on the calendar, I then emailed her and I had Sarah Marble's Diamond documentary because she's also a nurse. And I emailed her and I said, I don't remember exactly, but I said something like, hey, I was really hesitant to send this because I really don't want my friends to feel like I'm just, giving them a sales pitch or, trying to put pressure on them. But you mentioned wanting to quit your job. I know that you're already in the health industry and that you really care about helping people. And, this video here made me think of you because it's a friend of mine through this company who she was also a nurse and was able to quit her job because of this. This is what I do. You're not on Facebook, so I know you probably don't realize that this is my home business, but, I've helped a lot of people through this and I really think that you would just be an awesome fit for it. And, so I sent her this email about it and I had the Diamond documentary to send to her. So we had our play date today. And I met up with her and, first I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to like put the pressure on because she didn't email me back. And so eventually a little bit into it, we were talking about, my son's asthma and how much better it's gotten. And she's like, oh, how did you fix his asthma? And I talked to her about our probiotic and it turns out she and her daughter have asthma. And so that was a great opening. And I was like, well, I know, did you see that email I sent you? And she goes, oh yes, I saw it. I didn't want to email back because I figured I could just talk to you today. And she, although she's nervous because she's not on Facebook, she was actually open to the idea. And I had brought a sample with me knowing, okay, at least if it comes up, I want to have a sample ready in case I can. And so I gave her the sample of the Slim and, because it turned out she has PCOS and all hormone issues, all kinds she has migraines. the big things that we know that Plexus helps with. And so I gave her a sample of the Slim, and through just talking about the asthma stuff, she's like, oh, I definitely want to try that ProBio 5. She goes, can you bring it to me on Friday? Because we're getting together again. And so that's somebody that I reached out to that I know is not on Facebook. And her husband, in his job, he's in law enforcement. And because of his specific field he's in, she cannot be on Facebook for the safety of their family. But I know she'd still be awesome at this anyway. And it's worth it to me to spend a little extra effort having to send her stuff when I know this is going to help her family. I know this is going to help her health, and I know she'd be awesome at it. And this would really, bless her financially. And, also it'd be awesome for my team if I had another person who was really motivated in the business. So, don't be scared to reach out to people outside of Facebook. Another thing that I really recommend is if you have a brand new person you're reaching out to, okay? So say you've never reached out to them before, get them on the phone. And I've talked to a few of you about this. It's so much, we're in our comfort zone when we're behind our computers, and we can think about every word that we're typing out and reread it like 20 times before we send it to them, okay? That's our comfort zone. It's a great place to be in, but you could miss an opportunity, because if you send them a message, guess what they can do? They can ignore it. Okay. If you get them on the phone, if you already have their phone number, that's great. Call them out of the blue. When they answer the phone, or if say they don't, you have to leave a message. I would just leave a message, hey guys, or hey, whoever it is, it's Kendall, give me a call back whenever you get this. I want to chat. And, I don't even tell them it's about Plexus or whatever. And when they call me back, or if they answer the phone, I'm not going to talk about Plexus right off the bat. Hey, I was thinking about you. It's been so long. I wanted to give you a call and catch up. I was going to message you, but, I figured it'd be so much better to talk on the phone. Because eventually your life's going to come up and you can talk about this, and when you're talking to them, hey, yeah, I'm doing this. It's actually going great. You'd be awesome at this too. You'd probably love the products. I've thought about you a couple times, but I didn't want you to be turned off by me sales pitching you. So, I haven't brought it up, but this is something you'd really love. You can do it in a natural way so they don't have to know that you're, calling them also to talk about Plexus. If it's somebody you don't have their phone number, say it's an old high school friend, then message them and say, hey, what's your phone number? I have a question for you. Like, that's all you have to say. And then they'll be like, here you go. What's the question? And then you'd be like, I'll call you, probably tomorrow. And then call them, hey, well, my question was, what on earth is going on with your life? I've been thinking about you, and, I just wanted to catch up, and I was going to message you about it, but I figure why not get on the phone and talk, rekindle relationships. And I can tell you now, regardless of Plexus or not, you are going to be blessed by rekindling relationships. That has been one of my favorite things about this, is friendships that I used to have that were awesome, and then life got in the way and we stopped talking or communicating, we grew apart, and now we're friends again. So if I can stress anything, I think you can tell the whole, topic of this call has been getting on the phone, getting personal with people, go to coffee, go to dinner. I had a friend last night that I was, so fortunate. I got to go to dinner with her. We haven't seen each other in 10 years. And she did end up joining my team. And I knew this before we were going to go to dinner, but I could have chosen to just get on the phone with her and sign her up that way. And I was like, no, I want to go to dinner. I want to know what's going on with your life. I don't want to just talk about Plexus. I want to know what's going on with you. And you know what? We had a great conversation, and I am so excited that we're friends, that we're actually talking again. And so it takes extra time, I know, to fit in a dinner or a coffee date or a phone call, but it's worth it. So I really encourage you to do that. So for those of you who don't know, I mentioned Celeste Quinn. So Celeste Quinn, is amazing. She's extremely successful. She hit diamond in, I think, 8 months or 10 months. And that's, unheard of. And she's now double diamond. And so for those of you who listened to the Jules Periscope call, you'll have heard this. For those of you that didn't, this is something that really stuck with me. One of the ladies that was there, she's an emerald. And, when you're emerald, you get to go to Hawaii. And she said that her goal when she got to Hawaii was to figure out what Celeste's secret was. She goes, I feel like Celeste has a secret that she's not telling any of us. And I was determined to find it out. And Celeste had multiple team members of hers there that became Jules and also got to go to Hawaii. And so she said she went up to each and every one of them and asked them, okay, so how did Celeste train you? Like, what did she do? And, and so they were, telling her, and she goes, well, it's, basically the same way I'm trained. So there was no secret there. And, then she thought to ask them, well, how did she recruit you? Like, how did she approach you about this? And every single one of them said, she called me. Not that she messaged them, she called them, okay? And also, every single one of them said they turned her down the first time, okay? But guess what? She called again. And I doubt her phone calls were like, they answer, hey, so I want to talk to you about Plexus. That wasn't it, okay? Celeste has stressed over and over that it is about the relationship. And so she, I'm sure, called, just like we mentioned, hey, I wanted to get on the phone. What is going on with you? It has been way too long. We used to call each other 15 years ago, and now we're all in this text society, and I want to call you and not text you. And so she got reconnected them. So guess what that does? If they turn you down the first time, that's at least open the door of the relationship. So it's not awkward to call them again. Okay. Because you're catching up again on life, and you can bring it up again. Hey, just so you know, I still think you'd be awesome at this. You really should try it. And if you're following up again, their health could have completely changed by the time that you follow up. Maybe they found out that they are hypothyroid. Maybe they've put on 20 pounds since then because they are stressed out the wazoo and they're eating all the chocolate in sight. Like, you don't know what is going on. And again, I waited 11 months, okay? Because when my cousin first talked to me about it, I turned her down. And when I finally got to the point where I needed it, then I was ready to listen. So, so everybody wants to know how Celeste was so successful, and I really think that's it. She got on the phone with people. She met people for coffee. She met people for dinner. She connected personally, because then instead of spending 2 weeks trying to explain to somebody everything this is, just have a phone call and you've knocked it all out and they're excited about it. So another thing that helps with that is confidence in the products, okay? You have to learn the products. This does not mean that you have to learn every ingredient and what every ingredient does, okay? I still don't know that. But if you don't have confidence in sharing them, first reach out to your upline, and you can get videos and training calls, and, Google it. Google Chromium and health benefits, and you'll learn what Chromium does for you. For my level ones, what I try to do is say they've reached out to somebody, or say that they're posting on Facebook and somebody messages them. It doesn't matter what the question is that they message them about Plexus. I tell them, until they are confident, send that to me. I will help you word your answer. I'll even type it out to where you can copy and paste it and send it to them. Because this helps in two ways, okay? This helps first that they know the person's getting the right information. And second, they are reading how I respond to this, and they're learning from that, okay? Now, again, we do want to encourage them to get on the phone. If they, obviously if you're brand new, say it's your first day and somebody messages you about Plexus, you have no clue what to say, okay? Three-way calls. Three-way calls are scary for a lot of people, but they are so successful. I've done quite a few of them, and it's that third-party validation from what we're talking about. If somebody doesn't know, if I have a new person that just started and she doesn't know the answer to the question, tell them, I don't know yet how that it helps with that, but my friend does. Like, can I call her in real quick and she can answer your questions a lot better than I could? And I actually want to know the answers about that too. So I'd love to hear what she says. Be vulnerable with them. You don't have to lie and act that you know everything, So, three-way calls are super important. And this actually brings me to the new contest I was telling you guys about. And so this is for my first 4 levels. If you don't know what level of mine you are, you can let me know, or check with your upline and they can let you know. And I would love to do this, all the way down, but I have like 8 levels, so that'd be really difficult. And I do encourage you guys who have teams to do stuff for your teams, do contests, give them incentives to want to push themselves and to, reach for a goal. So for my first 4 levels, the person who schedules and gets on the most three-way calls by September 15th, I've got a $100 cash prize. So that's $100 on top of your paycheck. Some people, that's a huge thing. So I plan on having a bunch of time open, lunch breaks, afternoons, evenings. If you guys have somebody, especially fence sitters, or if you're somebody who does not feel confident talking to people about this, schedule a 3-way call with me, okay? Because I will first share my story so they hear, somebody who has had success with the products and a testimony. And, I do believe that I went through hell so that I have a good testimony with this. That's the only good thing that came out of it. But I can then answer their questions. I can help them understand why our products do what they do. We don't have the miracle drug. We just have something that gets your body back to where it needs to be so that it can do what it needs to do. Okay. But I also give that third party validation. They are hearing from somebody other than you that, yes, this works. Okay. So, again, September 15th, my first 4 levels, $100 cash prize, whoever schedules the most 3-way calls with me. And just scheduling them doesn't count. We have to actually have the 3-way call, because I know some of you will push that. So I'll post that on the team page. But as far as confidence in products, there are so many great videos out there that teach you about the products. And I am actually working on something right now. It's a file, and I'm hoping to be done by Friday. This is taking me time because I'm having to listen to all these training calls, and I am creating a file of my favorite ones. Okay. So my favorite ones to learn the products, my favorite ones for motivation, my favorite ones for business tips. And I've got this all, but if I'm listening to 20 calls, they're all like an hour long. Okay, that's 20 hours I have to listen to. So that's why this is taking me time. So if I don't have it instantly, please give me grace on that. A great book to get that will really, really give you a solid understanding of these products and why they work. It's called Recaging the Beast, and I actually have it right here. This is the book. Let me make sure you guys can see that. And I know it's backwards, but this book, it's $25 on Amazon. I know the Kindle edition is, I think, $10 or less. If you can, this book, get it and get the real paperback version, because I have notes all through it. The author on it is Jane Remington, and just reading the first chapter will teach you more about gut health than I learned in my first year with this. Okay. She lays it out in such a great way. I remember my first night reading this, I kept waking up my husband, my friend Brianne was living with us at the time. And like every little thing, I'm like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what it just said. That makes so much sense. Like, I was so excited because it was just connecting all the dots for me. And our company, as much as people think it's about weight loss, it's actually about gut health. Okay. Because gut health affects so much of your body, and issues that you have going on, whether you even have the ability to lose weight, the speed of your metabolism, inflammation, cravings. I mean, really, you name it, energy, headaches, it comes from your gut. It really does. And this book will help you have even more belief in our products, because you'll realize, wow, we do have something that is awesome, and this is why it's helping with so much. So, I'm still not even all the way through this book. This is like my favorite thing to pull up. And it even talks about specific stuff and why gut issues, so candida, or ugly word we're not allowed to say, which is like my favorite word, but why it's connected to all that stuff. And there's other books. Hold on, let me grab them. So these are my other 2 right now, favorites. This is the Fungus Link, and this is part 1 and part 2. Okay, there's 3 parts. The third one I didn't get. This is by Doug Kaufman, and I'm really liking these. So each chapter, sorry, I just realized my camera's crooked. So each chapter goes into a different thing. So so book 1, it covers hormone problems and the gut link to hormone problems, to autoimmune diseases, to ear, nose, and throat illnesses, weight gain, hair loss. Book 2 goes into allergies, arthritis, digestion, respiration, like asthma, mental health, heart health, women's health, and pain. So these go into each chapter specifically explains why your gut affects each of these illnesses. So these books are going to be great for you to have an understanding if a customer comes to you and says, I have rheumatoid arthritis. Well, that's an autoimmune disorder. And you now will be able to fully understand why selling them the triplex as opposed to just the slim is so important. You're going to understand what all the triplex does and how it affects their rheumatoid arthritis to help their body start to correct it. Okay. So those are awesome books to get. So the training videos, getting these books. The other day I posted a link to Lori Harrison's Ustream file. It's still on my team page, and I'll bump it up if I remember after this call. But So I have learned that if you try to access her Ustream thing via your computer, the videos don't pull up for some reason. I can't do it on mine either, and I have a lot of people say it didn't work. But if you go to it on your phone, it will work on your phone, okay? So try it on your phone. And I'm telling you, there were some I posted just listening to one part of her video. You're going to learn so much on this stuff. And she's got like hundreds on there. It's ridiculous. I mean, I listen to her all day. I mean, I dream her voice because I listen to her so much. So, but she knows a lot about this. And she also has some that are great as far as ambassador tips and how to work the business. So her Ustream channel, I really recommend. And YouTube, I don't have that in my notes here. I'm sure I'll repeat it later. YouTube has a lot of stuff. My favorite people to follow on YouTube are Sarah Marble. She's got a bunch of stuff. She's generally the one, if I'm going to hop in my car to drive to the grocery store, or when we were on our way to the pool today, I just pulled up her YouTube channel and I had my earbuds in and I just went to her next video, because she's got a lot of really good stuff on like self-development, leadership skills, how to work this business, what tools are great to have. So she's awesome. Lori Harrison has a YouTube channel that's really great as well. And Sonia Dudley is my other favorite. Sonia has tons of stuff that, is just real useful as far as the business and product and encouragement and that kind of stuff. Plexus University is one of their newer YouTube channels, and they don't have a whole lot on there yet, but the ones that they do have I really like. And then Plexus Worldwide, their YouTube channel has a lot of stuff. So those are my favorites. I'm very intentional about anytime I'm in my car driving somewhere, I have my earbuds. I have one so I can hear out of the other ear. But I'm very intentional about listening to something, okay? Because the more you listen to, the more it's going to motivate you and teach you and keep you focused on why you're doing this. So I listen to it every single day. I do not miss a day without listening to at least a 10-minute training call or just a tiny little chunk of something. So that's something I really encourage you guys to do. Consistency is a huge thing. People are watching you, okay? So if you're posting, and then all of a sudden, like, you go a whole week without doing anything, and you don't share any information, you're not saying how excited you are about your products, then that starts getting people to look at you like, well, what's going on? Like, they start realizing, well, maybe this is a hobby for her, or maybe she's not, as excited about this as she says. People are watching you. I've had some customers come to me and tell me, I know like 3 people who are selling Plexus, but I want to do it with you because you seem to post the most information about it, and you've been consistently sharing about it forever, so I can tell that you really love it. And so there's a lot of people selling Plexus now. And so you want to be that example for your friends who are thinking about it, so that they go with you and not with your other friend who skips a week or, 4 days or 5 days. So being consistent is super important, because that's the message that you're putting out there to them, that you do love these products and you're excited and you're passionate about how much they're helping others. So this is the thing I want to talk about objections. So I was listening to a training call on this, and a lot of this has come from training calls that I've gotten, just great tips that have stuck with me. So this is one from Sonia Dudley, and she talked about the objection that we all get, that these products cost too much, okay, and that somebody can't afford it. So this is kind of how she approaches that. If somebody says, well, I can't really afford it, and so she tells them, Sarah, whoever, can I ask you a few questions, based on what you've told me, I want to see if Plexus is even an option for you. And, so first she asks, well, do you drink soda? And they'll say, most people say yes. If she says no, then you're like, oh, great, that's awesome. And, I'm really glad that you have already made that change. Do you buy snacks? Like, do you, buy snacks for your house? Do you go to the Quick Stop? Do you get the, munchies? Sorry. Yes, Raina, you can leave if you need to, sweetie. Sorry, I forgot, you guys, if you have a question, there's that little chat button for anybody who missed it. There's chat at the bottom of the screen. And so you can pop up a question and I'll try to address it while I'm talking about that topic. But do you buy snacks? Do you, do you crave things in the afternoon or evenings? And they'll say yes or no. Are you on any medications? Do you take allergy meds every day, or do you have pain stuff that you got to be popping ibuprofen all day long? Or do you have more, serious prescriptions, like maybe you have cholesterol stuff? And they'll say yes or no. And then, are you somebody that has struggled with diets? Like, have you tried a lot of different diets and, not really had success with one? Are you somebody that has struggled with that? And they'll say yes or no. And her response, I love it. to somebody who has said yes to any of those are, if you knew that Plexus was your solution and that it could knock out, the cost of all of that we just talked about. Maybe you could get off the medication that you're on, with your doctor's approval. Maybe it'll curb your cravings that you have. Maybe you won't need sodas anymore. Maybe you won't crave them. Maybe it'll do for you what it did for me, and it'll take away the snacking and those, munchy cravings that you get. Maybe it'll do that. And if you knew that it would do that, that was actually a possibility, then could you see the benefit of spending $4 a day on Plexus? Could you see the benefit of that? And, really, when you lay it out that way to them, you are selling to them the value of this and not telling them the cost of this. And that's what we have to do. We have to open their eyes to the value, because they're spending that money anyway on all this other stuff. So if somebody really wants to do this, cost isn't really an issue. They might say it is, but that's not the real issue, okay? And we've got to open their eyes to that. So if you can point out in a gentle way, obviously don't say, well, you buy candy bars, in a gentle way, show them, if you struggle with all this stuff, like, if this could really help you with that, if you knew that it could help, like, would it be worth it? They're going to say yes, okay? If they are somebody who, like, their answer to all the above questions were no, they don't struggle with any of that stuff, then her great response to that, well, really, just the peace of mind alone, like, would it be worth the $4 a day if you knew that this could help you with the constant struggle of dieting? So I guess her response to this was if their answer was only yes to the dieting. They have their snacking under control. They don't drink sodas. They don't, take medicine. But if it was just, they've just been struggling and, with their diet and trying all these different things and nothing's working, so just the peace of mind alone, would it be worth the $4 a day if you knew that this could help you with that struggle? Maybe it could take it away. Would that be worth it to you? And this generally cuts through that cost objection. And I've really been trying to practice this lately with people. And so far it's gone well. Like, they have thought, well, gosh, yeah, I guess it really could. Like, maybe it would be worth trying it. And then, obviously reassuring them with our 60-day money back guarantee. If you notice nothing, I don't want you to waste your money. So get your money back, but it's at least worth giving it a shot if it could be the thing that really changes it for you. And another thing she always does, if somebody brings up cost, she says it's not normally the real issue. And so if somebody brings it up, then you can ask them, well, what else would keep you from trying Plexus other than the cost? If cost wasn't an issue, what else? And you can normally find out more. Maybe they're scared of how it's going to taste, or they're afraid it's not going to work for them. And then you can address those issues as well, so you can get to the root issues that are preventing them. Okay. So again, if this is something that they really need, people will find a way to afford it. Time management is super important with this business, especially the further that you get. That's something that I really have to focus on lately. The first thing I recommend to do for your time management is, hold on, let me get my book. I have another book I use. So I have a whole journal that is my to-do list, okay? And every time I talk to somebody or something comes up, I keep this on me. I have my whole list of to-dos. And this way, when I sit down, say I have 10 minutes to work on Plexus, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to my newbies or check in with somebody. Those are my income producing activities. And so I go through my potentials list, but I have this. So I'm not lost. I know what I need to get done. Okay. Because the more you have going on and the more you're juggling, the more you're going to forget stuff. And let me tell you, I have forgotten a lot of stuff and I have missed a lot of opportunities. I really have. And I knew it at the time and I still didn't figure out something to fix it. So this has helped me a lot. Okay. Getting organized. So, if I have 10 minutes before I even get on Facebook, okay, because Facebook's a time suck. So before you get on Facebook, you want to do income producing activities first. So, I reach out to my new potentials. I then see, if there's a customer I haven't checked in on, and I do that. I figure out what my new personal post is going to be, because if you're sharing 2 Plexus posts, one of them should be personal, something that you have experienced with Plexus or something you're excited about. So these are all income producing. And I've made sure I listen to my training call that day, even if it's just the 10 minutes, I do that because you always learn something and something to get you focused again. And if you're working full time, if you're somebody who also has a job in addition to this, which I know a lot of you do, then you've got to figure out in your day where you're going to get this done. Okay. So when do you have a 30-minute chunk? Can you use your lunch break for this? Morning, night? Like I said, I spent the 5 minutes just before this reaching out to different people that were on my potentials list because I had their names already written down. And I knew, okay, I've got 5 minutes here. I'm just going to shoot some quick messages real quick. So another thing that I have started doing that I've saw a lot of Jules recommend is in my phone in the Notes app, which I know Android so I have an iPhone, it's called Notes. I don't know what Android's is called, but I know they have something similar. I have pre-written out messages. So like my friend today who I gave the sample to, I had a pre-written out message that I use that I texted to her and I said, hey, I want to talk detox real quick. And I mentioned because the Slim does have some candida fighting properties, it's not abnormal to experience, maybe some headaches, maybe some bloating, maybe a little bit tired. This is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because it's showing you that it's working. But I just wanted to let you know so you're not taken off guard if it happens, but I didn't have to type that out. I already had that because that's what I send to anybody that I hand a sample to. If I'm checking in on somebody, I already have a pre-written out message that is something I can just copy and paste to somebody. Hey, I just want to see how you're doing. I've been thinking about you. I hope you're loving it. Let me know how it's going. Can I call you later? Like I already have that written out in my phone. Okay. So this is going to save you time. If somebody asks you what Plexus is, obviously the first thing is get them on the phone. But if you can't, I have a pre-written out message that I send to people explaining, and I don't go into the details anymore. Somebody asked me, what is Plexus? I say, well, it's a little pink drink that you shake up and, you drink it once a day and it's helped with this, 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 and this. And, it's pretty incredible. And, we also have our probiotic and our BioCleanse that go along with it. And they really address all the issues that contribute to these. And so, but I already have all that typed out. So that's something I can just send to somebody. So if I'm at work, which I'm not obviously because I'm home, but you can just copy that and send it to them. And it takes all of like 3 seconds to answer that person. Okay. So you've now addressed them in a timely manner to keep their excitement up. Okay. So don't open up Facebook until you've done your productive activity. And Sarah Marble talked a lot about time blocking, which I've started doing, which is basically put everything on your calendar. If you're going to work for certain hours and you can't work Plexus, put it in your calendar. If from like 8 to 8:30, then you only have that 30 minutes, then put it in your calendar. Okay. Sorry, let me see. What if you aren't set to have, let me open up this message. What if you aren't set to have products sent to you and you get someone to sign up finally? You have 2 people sign up. Okay, hold on. Expound on this a little bit. I think I'm confused from the way that you wrote it. Set to have products sent to you and you get someone to sign up finally. And you have to have 2 people to sign up. If you don't. Okay, so are you meaning that that what if you can't afford your own products right now and you have to have 2 more people sign up before you're able to? Is that what you mean? You can message me back. Okay. So that means like if you don't have your own personal story to share, you can nod because I can see you. So really, you have other people's stories. Again, this comes back from not needing your own testimony to share this. Okay. If you're like, so say I didn't have my own products and somebody asks me, what have you noticed? I tell them, look, I haven't been able to afford it yet. I'm working really hard to encourage my friends who are having health struggles to try it as well. Because this is something that I know I need to be on. I know it helps people. I have friends who it has helped, and it is something I am determined to get on. And so, I know that this could help you, and I would love for you to start this journey with me. Like we should really do this together. You have ways of approaching that again, we're not trying to sell to our friends, we're trying to be vulnerable and meet them where they're at and be honest about where we're at. And you don't have to have this incredible story. Like I have some people, the weight loss side effect, it's never kicked in for them. They've never lost weight, but they sleep better. They have more energy. They have all this other stuff. So, we're each in a different place. And if you're somebody that you can't even afford it yet, I would work really hard to reach out to people. And while I wouldn't maybe advertise that I haven't taken it yet and that you're trying to earn the income to do this, if they ask, I'd be honest, like, look, I desperately want to be on this and I haven't been able to do it yet, but I know a lot of sick friends. And so thankfully the business is set up in a way that, I'm able to share it with my friends. And, I'm very hopeful that it's going to help them. And that in turn is also going to help me to get on something that I know I need to be on. You can still be passionate about it, even if you haven't ever taken it. Okay. I'm so sorry. All this talking is getting to me. So I hope that answered that question a little bit. One thing that will help you is having business cards. I know some people can't afford them right off the bat, and that's totally fine. But so when I first started with this, I didn't have business cards, and I was getting my hair done, and I was telling a lady, I started doing this. I've already made, a couple $100, and I've just been doing it a couple of days. Like, you should think about this. And, she got really excited about it and wanted to try it. And then she asked me for my info, and guess what? I had to be the ghetto person and write it down on a receipt instead of having a business card to hand to her. And it was just not professional. So, I really recommend making sure that you get business cards as soon as you're able to. And then Jana, I am opening your message. Hold on. Who can't get credit if you are not signed up for AutoShip. So are you just not interested in taking the products, and that's why you don't have AutoShip, or you just cannot afford it right now? Because, okay, so what you should do with your AutoShip, okay, is AutoShips are set to go on the 25th of the month. You can turn it off on the 24th of the month and then turn it back on before the end of the month. And if you have somebody who has their order go through, that will prevent that AutoShip from shipping, obviously, because you've turned it off on the day it goes, but it will also make you commission qualified. Now, the bummer is, we don't get paid on our first $100 that we sell. So if you only have one customer, I don't let people order retail unless they just don't even ask me and they just go do it. I encourage everybody, look, there's retail and preferred. Please do not do retail. You are wasting your money. Preferred is the exact same thing, only you're saving a lot of money. Yes, it's a recurring order, but guess what? You don't even have to get next month's order if you don't want to. I can cancel it for you. Just let me know. But that way, say on the 27th, you turn your AutoShip back on. Well, because you passed the 25th, you don't have to worry about it shipping, okay? Just because you turn it back on before the end of the month does not mean it's going to process, okay? As long as you don't have it set up for the 28th. If you're somebody who has your set up on the 28th, just go in there and make sure you know the day. But if you have somebody who's going to order on the 30th, make sure that your AutoShip is turned on. It's not going to process, and you're going to get your paycheck, at least off of the preferred bonuses, if they're your first customer, okay? Does that answer that question a little bit better? Okay, because I think a lot of people are worried that the AutoShip is going to ship if you have it on at any point at the end of the month, and it's not. It's just that day that you have it set to. So that's the day that you want to make sure that you just have it turned off for, okay? So I hope that, just let me know if you have more questions about that or if I need to go more into that. Samples are great. Samples are expensive, I know. I do keep samples in stock for my local people so that they don't have to go buy them. But even if you just have one stick of Slim to spare to somebody, if you're talking to them about it, keep 2 in your purse. And it can come from your own personal stock and give them something. For me, samples have built 80% of my business. It's something tangible to get people excited about it, okay? And, if you're out and about, Sonia Dudley talks a lot about being able to approach strangers to talk to them about this. And, an example for hers was she was sitting next to a table of women. She had no intention of talking to them, but she heard them talking about juicing and health stuff and dieting and all this and that. And so she finally decided, no matter what, I've got to open my mouth. They could turn me down. That's great. I'll never see them again, but it could change their lives. And that's become my motto: open your mouth, because they could desperately need it. And so I'm forcing myself out of my comfort zone. And so she did, she turned to them and she told them, she's like, look, I do not want you to feel like I've been eavesdropping on you. I promise I haven't. I've just been accidentally hearing this stuff, and I've been warring with myself on whether or not to talk to you, because I do not want you to feel like I'm trying to approach you to sell you anything. But the stuff that you've been talking about is something that I struggled with. And, I found something that has really helped. And I was just kicking myself at the thought of not opening my mouth and at least sharing it with you. If you're not interested, that's totally fine. But I just at least wanted to share it with you in case it could help you. And, they're all like, oh, okay, what is it? And, she told them, it's a little pink drink that you shake up. And it's helped me with this, and this. And they were thrilled. And it turned out one of the girls had fibromyalgia, like Sonia Dudley had fibromyalgia. And another thing she recommends is if you talk to somebody right then and there, hand them your phone and say, put your number in, I'm going to text you some info. And now you automatically have their follow-up information. Okay. And if you hand them your phone, they're not going to say no. They're going to be like, oh, well, I don't want to put my phone number in. They're just going to put their phone number in and, and then call them real quick. Okay, you have my phone number now too. And now if they decide now is not the time, but like 6 months later, all of a sudden they want to do it. Well, if you gave them a business card, they probably lost your business card in that 6 months. Okay. But if you have texted them and they have your phone number, well, they now know, oh, well, I remember that lady told me about it and I have her info, and they know how to get a hold of you again. Okay. So that's super important. Another thing is I try to keep some good diamond documentaries in the notes section of my phone, because those are great videos that motivate people to give this a shot. Okay. So I like to send those to people. So I'm trying to decide what I want to talk about, because I know this is getting long. I'm trying to cut some out. Once you have a team, communication is key. Make sure that you're talking with your team. I've been really pushing myself to get on my phone, with my level 1s, some level 2s, people that I'm responsible for directly helping grow their teams. And so, make sure you're in communication at least weekly with them. Sorry. One of the biggest things that I loved hearing was that we always stress about how we can motivate our team to work. Okay. And you cannot motivate somebody to work, because motivation is an internal thing. That's something that comes from the inside. All you can do is lead by example and inspire them to do it. And that will produce the motivation in them. Okay. So focus on, obviously communicating with them, but work on yourself. You need to be recruiting yourself. You need to be posting yourself. You need to be learning about the products yourself, instead of, which I did this. Once you get a team, even a little team, you feel like, okay, I can just sit back now and I need to just work on them and get them working. And we feel like now that we've got a team, the easy or the hard part's done. We just need to get them working. And we should not think that way. We should be constantly growing ourselves. And so that is the thing I've really been pushing myself this month, is staying in contact with my team and encouraging them, but not trying to be responsible for their motivation. But then I also am working on myself. So be available to your team. Learn how to be a leader. We're not leaders overnight. It's a process. It's a process I've been working on and really struggling through, is how to lead people. I mean, that's an intimidating thing. And, it's a hard thing to figure out if you're doing right. You feel like you are all the time, and then you realize you were wrong for a year. So, I've learned it's just being there for my team, trying to lead by example, communication, excitement, encouragement. There's a lot of good books about it, and I can post those on my team page for later. You want to build a sense of community in your team. If you've got some local people, then try to get together with them. Do like maybe a Plexus, a local training, or just get together and go to dinner. It doesn't have to be any like specific Plexus event. You just want to build a community there, because then you guys will work together to grow your teams and bounce around ideas and do that stuff. So another good thing I learned is pour your time into those that want it. Okay. So this doesn't mean that you don't reach out to every person on your team, but 90% of your time needs to go to those that have the desire to work this. So if you're spending all your time trying to motivate the unmotivated, it's a waste of your time. Okay. Because you can't do it. So work on those who want to do this. And if you're somebody who's getting discouraged, so that's where I was super discouraged. And, that sounds ridiculous as a Ruby saying, oh, I was discouraged. But again, I mean, no matter where you are in this, you're constantly growing and learning. And if you're not doing things to further that, then you're going to get stuck. And that's frustrating no matter what phase it is in this business. So the things that have really helped me is getting engaged with my team members and getting on the phone with them, because we encourage each other. I mean, I'm not just calling them to encourage them. It helps me as well. Get books on network marketing. My favorite is Rocker Network Marketing Business. That's with Sarah Robbins. I love that one. The Circle Maker is one I love. That one for me is just, praying circles around those things in your life that you really, have a passion for and that you really want. And so I pray for every person on my team. I pray for my business. I pray for those that I might come in contact with during the day, and that, I would just be able to recognize somebody who might need this, like I needed it, and have the courage to open my mouth to that person. So the Circle Maker really helped with that. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I've heard so much about that, so I'm actually ordering that tonight. So, but then again, all those YouTube videos, those will really help you if you're discouraged. And again, every single day, do not let a day go by that you're not listening to them. Okay. So my biggest thing is I felt like I didn't have time, but then I realized, okay, I'm watching nighttime television. I have my TV shows, I love Grey's Anatomy and I love, The Good Wife and Scandal. I love those shows, but I had time for those, yet convinced myself I didn't have time to listen to training calls. And so you do have to kind of figure out what your priorities are and where you have time to give. And if you don't have a whole lot of time to give, then it might be a little more painful to give up the certain things that you want. Because I felt like, I school my kids all day and I'm exhausted by the end of the day. I deserve to drink my glass of wine and watch my TV show and have me time. And I realized, I spend most of my days frustrated because my business is stuck. And if I just gave up a TV show, maybe I would be able to make a change, which has actually happened. Because I've been listening to all these videos and training every single day. I will not pick up a personal book. I will not watch a TV show. I will not listen to an audiobook unless I've spent at least 10 minutes listening to a training call. So, that is what I really recommend you guys doing, prioritizing that. If this is something you want, prioritize that. So, set your goals, write out your goals. If your goal is $200 a month, figure out what you need in order to reach that goal, be it customers or ambassadors, work toward that. Okay. And once you hit that goal, set your next goal. I was talking to Heather about goals and I told her that I hate setting goals because then it just stresses me out. And then if I don't get it, I get really discouraged and I just don't want to do anything. And, she told me, Kendall, if you aren't failing to hit your goals occasionally, then your goals are not big enough. And so that was something I really had to take to heart. Like, you're right. I'm just not setting goals because of the fear of not hitting my goal. And then I have nothing that's driving me to do this. So, set those goals, attend events in your area, look for them. You can search on Facebook. You can ask on the team pages. If there's not an event in your area, consider hosting an opportunity meeting. Okay. I just did one this last Friday night and I do have a recording of it. If you would like to see it, then after this, just Facebook message me and ask me to send you the opportunity meeting I did. They're not hard to do, guys. You just share from your heart, talk about the products, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. Like I said, I despise public speaking. I feel like my heart is going to beat out of my chest when I do it. But I know that one of the biggest things this business has done is push me outside of my comfort zone. So I really encourage you to think about it. And you can even team up with a team member and you guys can do it together, okay? So that's really the last of what I have. I really just want you guys to go away from this, work on your plan, okay, for this. Write out your plan. You have to have it written out to know, what your goals are and not forget after you think about them. You can think about them tonight and wake up tomorrow and forget half of what you thought about. So write it down. Figure out what time you have to invest in this daily. Like, give yourself a number. If it's an hour, make sure you're spending an hour every day. If it's 30 minutes, if you get to the end of the day and you're like, wow, I didn't do this an hour. Well, analyze your next day and think about, okay, well, where am I actually going to schedule this in on my calendar? What do I need to give up tomorrow so I can make sure that I am working this? Because you want this, okay? And so you've got to keep that in your mind, that if your big picture goal with this is, to actually turn this into a business or to be able to loosen up your finances a little bit so you're not struggling and not being able to buy groceries or, be it whatever it is, you've got to prioritize this. So have your to-do list. That was my big thing, is have your to-do list. That has helped me so much to know if I've got 10 minutes, exactly what I'm about to do in that 10 minutes without having to waste that 10 minutes scrolling through my messages or Facebook. Make sure you have your list of people that you're going to reach out to so that when you have those, 10 minutes, you already know who you're going to reach out to. And, like one of my girls I reached out to today and I just jotted the date next to her name, so that I now know next time, okay, I reached out to her on this date. So next time I scroll through there, I'm like, oh, okay, it's been 6 weeks. I should probably reach out to her again. Have earbuds. This is a simple one. I don't know why I wrote this down, but make sure you have earbuds, okay? If you don't have them, keep them in your car, because every time you get in your car, I want you to have earbuds in your ear, just one ear, so that you can hear if an ambulance is coming. But listen to something. Listen to some kind of training. I just stream YouTube, okay? I'm watching the road, I promise. I'm not watching my thing, but I've got it going. So that is time. I have, not time I've had to set aside for this business, but where I've been able to fit this business into my day-to-day work. When you're driving to work, listen to something, okay? That starts off your day right, and you're ready to open your mouth at work and share this with people. So that's a real simple thing that you can do. And, just start calling people. Get off of just messaging them, call them, okay? This is a super important thing that we've got to do. There's so much that you can do, but those are like really the biggest things that I want you to take away from this. This business, it's blessed us in incredible ways, and I get excited. Obviously my team growing, it helps me. Yes, it does. But my team is made up of my friends who have decided to do this with me. And so seeing them be successful with this is way more rewarding than the paycheck that you get. Okay. And I promise you that's how it works. And the further you get with this, the more and more rewarding it is, way more than just financially. So if you guys have any questions, I know there's only a couple of you that have lasted through this whole thing. Y'all are the troopers. I know everybody else is waiting for the recording tomorrow, but if you guys do have a question, you're welcome to unmute yourself if you want to ask it, or, sorry, there's more people on here than it is telling me. So you're welcome to unmute yourself or chat it in, or if you just think of it after the fact, if you don't know it right now and you're ready for bed, you're welcome to message me on Facebook tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'm friends with all of you. So, so y'all have anything? I know you're probably just as sleepy as I am. Here, I'm gonna unmute you guys. Yes, because I have the power. Hold on. Hello, ladies. Okay, now you have to talk. You're all unmuted. Janet, did I answer all your questions? Can you hear me? Janet.
I have a couple questions about when I was using the product, but
you can ask me. That's fine.
I kept having the detox, like, did I lose you?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. I just kept having the detox. Like I kept detoxing and detoxing and detoxing. It was kind of.
So why did you start this? Like, what did you have going on health-wise?
Well, I just started it because I wanted to try it,
Did you have health issues or anything?
Well, I've always kind of had irritable bowel, and I have migraines, but it seemed to me like the irritable bowel thing kind of got worse.
Mm-hmm. So I had that as well, and mine got a lot worse in the beginning too.
Really?
As far as like the bathroom issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say more, but I'm recording this, so I don't want to say more.
I know.
So on the Lori Harrison YouTube, one of her things, she talks about detox a lot. And so I need to tag you in that actual one because it really helps you understand. So when you have candida in your gut, anything that is already a symptom of that. So IBS is a symptom of that. Somebody who has eczema, somebody who has migraines, if you're somebody who has ulcerative colitis and have the stomach pains, as you start taking things that kill off that candida, first of all, when you kill it off, it releases 93 toxins in your body, okay? And that sounds like a super scary thing, but it's necessary. This is causing health issues. You want to get it out of your system.
Right.
Also, anything that's already an issue, when you start taking that, it's going to stir it up, and it can get a lot worse before it gets better. And unfortunately, that's a big turnoff to a lot of people. I've been talking to a lot of people lately. My sister is one of them who she has something called painful bladder syndrome. It's got another name. I never remember it, but it's painful bladder syndrome. And it's basically where, I hope I get this right, like the lining of her bladder is allergic to food, even though her body is not allergic to food. So it literally, when she, whenever she eats, her bladder, she was like peeing blood because it like starts getting holes in her bladder. Or something like, I remember it was a while ago she got diagnosed. I know it was like some crazy thing like that. And so she started taking these products again. And she has hers controlled right now for issue, but her medicine's like $600 a month. It's ridiculous. And so her issues started getting worse. And she called me and she's like, my bladder is acting up like crazy. And one of the biggest side effects with this issue is she feels like she has to pee every 10 minutes. Okay. So it's incredibly uncomfortable when you work. That seems impossible.
Yeah.
And so we completely stopped the products. And so our job is to explain to people. And so this is something, for you, I hope I can get across right, that you already have the issue, okay? So you already have stuff going on in your body. So for her, she already has fecal bladder syndrome. And she can either be somebody who she wants to, stay on medicine to keep it controlled, and that's great, or get on the other side of that and not have the issue at all, okay? But the only way to do that is to get your gut in check, which is getting this stuff out. But unfortunately, a lot of issues get worse before they get better, and you've got to make it through that. So when she stopped the products, I told her, I was like, if you keep stopping, then you're just going to have to keep restarting this process over and over and over and over. And so then, your detox, which could have been a couple weeks to a month, it's now been turned into 4 or 5 months because you continue stopping and starting and stopping and starting, and she can't get onto the other side of this illness. And so, I finally got her, I'm like, even if it's only half of a probiotic that you can handle, half, that's better than that. And so that's something I'm really encouraging her to do, is just, take it every day, even if you're, and it stinks. Like, I know that's a hard thing to tell people when you're going to, running number 2, like 10 times a day. And trust me, that's what I had. Okay. I had it.
Yeah, me too.
I want to say it was like 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter. I don't know.
Longer. Like I would think I was on the product for 2 or 3 months.
And tell me how you were taking it, like how many you were taking, how many BioCleanse, how much water, and all that.
I started just doing 1 BioCleanse and one of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I just drink tons of water.
Okay. And when were you taking it? Because another thing I've noticed with somebody who, if they're super sensitive to the probiotic, first of all, I'd recommend trying even half of one. But I do have some people who have had to switch to taking it in the morning with a lean protein. And it has helped with that issue as well. And I know that sounds contradictory because we're not supposed to have food in our stomach. But again, it's better than not taking it at all. And as you can get your body adjusted to it and going through that detox process, then you can try switching it back to nighttime. But really, it stinks to say that, but it's about going through it and getting to the other side of that. That's the thing. The more
taking which one in the morning?
The probiotic.
Okay.
Yeah. And how did you take your BioCleanse and that together, or did you separate them?
No, I separated them.
Okay.
I can't remember. I just can't. I've been off of it for a couple months because I got unemployed again.
Yeah. Well, and I know Lori Harrison, she actually talks about in that video with the BioCleanse, how some people have the opposite effect. Some people taking 1, they actually have looser stools than if they were taking 3. But then, some it's the reverse. 3 is way too much of them and 1 is fine. And so that's why we say there's no specific way to take this. Everybody is so different because our bodies respond different. With BioCleanse, we all have different amount of magnesium in our body already. And so our bodies might react differently to magnesium than somebody else's would. So that's why I encourage people to tweak it, see what you can do with it. And unfortunately, Candida is one of those things. So I don't know if you know how probiotics work. With Candida, it fills up your intestines. And so first of all, regular probiotic doesn't work because there's no room for it. So you're just going to pee it out. Okay. So you have to have the enzymes that we have in ours and the antifungals and all those to fight the Candida in the first place. But then this bacteria actually has to go into your intestines, your colon, and it has to attach to the wall, and it has to start colonizing. And that takes time. That's when you get the people who, do have their detox last longer. For you said it's for 3 months. I wouldn't say that that's just a wonky reaction. I'd say that's still detox. That if you go to the team pages and you ask about that, you're going to have quite a few people say, oh, mine lasted, X number of months. And then all of a sudden it was gone. That messing with the products, asking for advice on those team pages. That's why I love Team Plex It Forward with all the people on there. Maybe if you ask a question once and you don't hear back from anybody on that one, ask it again like the next day. Because, maybe you just caught it at a time where people didn't see it, it already got bumped down. Or maybe bump your question up by commenting on it or liking it.
Well, and what was crazy was once I ran out of the pink drink and I was then just taking the ProBio and what's the other one?
BioCleanse.
The BioCleanse. Then my symptoms got way worse.
Yeah. The pink drink. So the pink drink for me, if I drink it by itself, it constipates me. So,
no, it got worse. Like I was literally peeing.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is the Slim was probably helping to not make it as bad.
Yeah.
For me, it has the it makes me stopped up. And And so then when you took that away, then it was,
Yeah.
or maybe it's something, the Slim does have candida fighting properties in it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't, oh gosh, don't ask me to tell you exactly which ingredient. I was reading about this like 2 weeks ago. So maybe it's even worth trying just that for a while. Because did you start all 3 at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that there are a lot of people as well who have to start with just the Slim, and they slowly introduce the other stuff. So taking just that, even if you take just that for a month, and give your body time to adjust with that, because then you may be like me, where now it's stopping you up a bit. So take one probiotic and see what happens, and let your body slowly adjust to that stuff, because, maybe just throwing it all at once, you need it to ease into it for your body to figure out, okay, how do I use each of these to start helping it? So, and that's why it's so hard, why I encourage people, especially now that you've gone through this. So that's for me. I had horrible detox. Okay. So I had, I was in the bathroom all the time. I had headaches. By 3:00 in the afternoon, I just crashed. I was so tired. I had, gurgly stomach, and I was bloated. But the only thing that got me going was I knew my pain was gone. Okay. So that was like my big, I don't care. I'm out of pain. I'll handle all this other stuff. But I had messaged my cousin, and I told her everything I was going through. And she's like, Kendall, just hold on. Because if you get through this, the other side is so much better. And it literally was one day, it just stopped, and I felt amazing. But we all respond differently. So for you, trying a different method, and that's why I hate when customers quit without even communicating to me what's been going on, because I can work through it with them. But I also now realized me going through that with my detox is great, because now I understand when my customers go through it, and I can support them in that and let them know I got to the other side of it. You can. I had the same symptoms, and you can get to the other side of it. Everybody's a different amount of time as to when it happens, but and we might have to try a different product combination or a different, speed of how we take things. But you can get to the other side of it. We just need to find out the right combo for you. And so that's another reason why I started calling my customers to get into, one-on-one communication. Because if I'm messaging them and they're already negative about it because they're having detox, they're like, oh, I'm fine. I might not hear the real story, but if I call them, they're going to tell me the real story of what's going on. So,
and I still through all that, I still wasn't negative. I still want to take it because I felt so energetic when I was on it.
Yeah.
I just wanted, like talking to you, I just wanted to figure out how to, and I still want to get back to the point where I can afford to take it.
Yeah. Well, and through that, again, obviously, the getting the customers or ambassadors and just reaching out to people, but don't let the fact that you're not taking it scare you from reaching out to them. Okay.
Right.
Because I have multiple people on my team that were only able to sign up for the $35, and they've had to work it in order to even cover the cost of their products. And they didn't let that stop them from sharing just because they couldn't afford their products right off the bat, because why? They knew a lot of sick people. And again, they didn't have thyroid issues, but their mom had thyroid issues, or they didn't have an autoimmune disorder, but their cousin did. So they still told them about it regardless of whether they were taking it or not, And so I encourage them again, if you're not taking it and they ask you, be vulnerable. Look, I can't afford it, but man, I really want to be on this, and so I'm working my butt off to share this, for those that I know could benefit anyway from it, because I also want them to be on this journey with me.
Right.
Like speaking honestly about that stuff. So.
And I do have thyroid issues, so I don't know if that played a part in it too.
Yeah. Did you space it out from your meds?
I did. I started taking my thyroid at night.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead of
I don't know how all those. I just know space it out 4 hours. I don't know as far as nights and mornings and all that, but.
Yeah.
So, but does it help at all? I hope it does. As far as
Yes.
Do it a second time when you're able to.
Yes.
Obviously we all want to be on that probiotic because that's the awesome thing that helps with a lot of stuff, but, ease yourself into it, because you would rather, eventually get on it and not go through all the horrible detox than throw it at your body right off the bat and then just not be happy,
Yeah.
But
and I'm one of those people that I like taking the ProBio because I'm one of those people that when I eat, it just makes me feel really full and uncomfortable.
That was me. Yeah. That's the IBS for your, and it's right in your head, So yeah, I sympathize with you there. And each food makes your body react differently, and coffee kills you, and
Yeah.
So I hear you, but Yeah. Well, I mean, if you start it again, just let me know. But that's another thing, for your customers, for the most part, people do not have it last that long. Most people, it's like within the first month at most. Mine, it was like 3 weeks to a month, something like that. But it's also not unusual, though, like not unheard of, I guess, for you, with what you were going through. So, and anytime you have a customer, and this is just for you, for your own personal knowledge for future customers, anytime you have a question about something like that, obviously you talk to your upline, but, if somebody came to me, I might not know everything. So I would go to the team pages and say, hey, I don't know the answer to this. Has anybody had this happen to them? And, what happened? And that's what those team pages are great for. Because, I mean, my cousin, she's got like thousands of people on there that you could ask. So,
All right.
does that help?
Okay. That helps.
Okay, good. Okay, do you have any other questions I haven't talked about? Karina,
Nope.
Is that still you back there? I think it is. I can see the top of her head. Okay, ladies. Well, I'm going to stop recording this, and I will post this. So, Janet, I hope you're okay with that going.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you guys got on here. I will talk to you guys later, okay?
Thanks.
Bye.